All right, so Marine Diagnostic Tools, we started about 2.5 years ago. We are owned by Diesel Laptops, which started about 5.5 years ago. They started out with truck and off-highway software, selling that to customers. So we decided to make a marine division. 2.5 years ago, we started Marine Diagnostic Tools. So my name is Tim Rodabaugh. I'm the product manager. We also have Jason Connor here. He's the marine sales specialist. And what we do is we sell marine software to diagnose problems with multiple different manufacturers. This will cover the engine, sometimes the transmission. It will also cover the throttle controls. Just depends on what is actually in the software and what is covered. These two softwares that we sell, Texa and Kajali, they are always trying to create more information and add more to the software. So it's an ongoing process with them. So we'll go ahead and move along. So the competition we have, some of you may have heard of these. Obviously, the OEMs at the bottom, but there is a Meds by CPI, Sierra Stats, and there's a Renda Diacom machine that they also make. That is our competition. Okay, so the tools we sell, we have a Texa and a jaw test. Texa is from Italy. Jaw test, Kajali jaw test is out of Spain. We basically sell these kits with the communicator box and the computer, and then it comes also with the cables. Okay, so we sell two different kits. Here they are. The Texa is on the left-hand side and the jaw test is on the right. There's a little tool comparison that we have with the competition and what we offer. You can see that the jaw test here, the second box is pretty much all checked off, and Texa is pretty close to being checked off on all those also. So we definitely have an advantage as far as coverages, as far as manufacturers. So Texa has two different kits you can choose from. We have a basic kit that pretty much covers the gas engines. That's inboard, outboard, and the PWCs or jet skis, whatever you'd like to call them. And then Texa also offers a plus or full kit, and that will cover everything that's in the basic kit, but it will also offer gas and diesel coverage. So you'll have industrial engines and generators on there, and you'll also have the gas or the diesel, Cummins, John Deere, things like that. This kit will come with this TXB, and that is your communicator box. In the basic kit, here's the coverages, just a real quick run through. I won't spend too much time on that, but there's the engine coverages on the inboard gas, the outboard engines, and then the PWCs. Sorry about that. And then the plus kit, there's the coverages, the engine coverages on there. It'll also cover the same things from the basic kit, but it'll also offer that diesel coverage. Okay, so here's just some of the cables that are in the kits. Your basic kit comes with all these cables on the left-hand side, and then your plus kit will come with those cables in the basic kit and also these cables here to reach your diesel coverages. Okay, so the jaw test kits here, we offer 6 different jaw test kits. Our most popular one is the full kit. It will come with a bunch of cables. It will come with all the software. It will not come with every cable. Unfortunately, the manufacturers have made it very complicated with the amount of cables, through, 20 years of different cables and connectors and ECMs. So not every cable is going to come with all these kits, but we do offer all the cables at a different charge. So aside from the full kit, you can also get the jaw test in just an inboard software or just an outboard software, or you can bundle those two and have an inboard outboard, or you can just do a PWC. If you just work on PWCs, you can just do that. And we also offer a diesel kit, which will cover the diesel engines for the inboard and the generators. Okay, so in the jaw test full kit, here's a little bit of what is covered. Here are the cables listed. There is a good bit of cables in here, and it does cover a lot of engines. And same goes for the Texa. But there will not be every cable in the kit, unfortunately. We want to try and keep the price low to help the customer out. Okay, on the jaw test full kit, these are all the engines that are covered. There's quite a few. Oops, I keep skipping. Okay, so one point I want to go over with the Texas software, it may not pertain to you guys because you don't work on truck or off highway, but with Texa right now, you can also get different environments added to that software. So if you work on truck, off highway, if you work on motorcycle, if you work on car, and you work on boats, you can get all the software included into one computer, and you can work on a bulldozer 1 minute, and you can go to a Volvo inboard 8.2 and work on that, and then you can turn around and go on your Ducati and work on that. So Texa really offers a lot with their software that you can do. Jaw Test is working on that. That should be within the next year, but we don't know exact date. Okay, so this is the software. We're going to go through the demos a little bit after this. This is just to give you a look at what the software looks like real quick. This is the Texa software. And then here's the Jaw Test. Different blues, very, very similar in how they design stuff, but very different at times too. Okay, so when you purchase a tool from us, we also offer other things. We have our proprietary software called Knowledge Base. That includes repair information, wiring diagrams, and code information. It is nowhere near complete. We have a lot of engines and a lot of years to cover. There is a lot of information in there, but it is nowhere near complete. So some models are missing. We work on that on a daily basis to try and get as much information in there as possible. But there is a lot of good information in there right now. We have a US based technical support. That technical support is full of mechanics and IT professionals. They can help you uninstall and reinstall your software, to running Windows updates, to helping you connect to an engine, to finding the connector. So they're very knowledgeable in that department, and they do a great job. And we also offer different levels of renewals. Now, these softwares, they will work for the lifetime. You don't have to renew as far as the marine software. We encourage you to renew because you will miss updates and certain information that they put out on the updates. But for the first year, you get all the updates free. After that year, then you would have to choose whether you want to do a renewal or not. And we offer different prices for that. We have renewals that just is for the software update, and then we have renewals that cover parts of the computers that we sell and whatnot. Okay, so just our phone number and our email address. You can give us a call, send us an email. If you want more information, we can, we're more than happy to talk to you and give you more information on what we offer. Okay, so I want to go into one of the demos. We'll start with the Jaw Test demo first. So this is the software here. This is a full package. This is your inboard engines, your outboard, your PWCs, and then your generators or industrial engines. The software is not really too complicated once you get to use it. Obviously, there's a learning curve. With that, we offer training courses in our training department to help you out how to maneuver the software. We cover all the icons and what to do if you're having problems and all that other stuff. Okay, so we'll just run through a demo so you can see the software here. We'll go to an inboard. We'll pick a Cummins. We'll choose a 8.3. So here we have, you can do a system scan, you can do special functions. If you click on that, it's usually just a shortcut to get into the stuff you want to do. And then you can do a manual diagnosis. The systems, you can see all the systems here, the different ECMs. What we want to do is we just want to go into the ECM, we'll go into the port. So Jaw Test includes a picture of that ECM. You can see that here. And we're going to click on that, and we're going to come up here, and this little icon here, that's your cable connector. That's going to tell you what cable to use, which is right here. And it's going to give you a picture of where to find that cable connection on that engine. They give you a couple different views and tell you what cable to use, or what your pinouts look like, and what that cable looks like. So you can see we're using this cable here. So we'll go ahead and hit connect. This is going to be a demo, so it's not, the numbers are not going to be correct on the parameters or anything, but it'll give you a basic idea of what's actually going on when you would connect to an engine. So here's the first screen you pop up. You can see here on the left, we have all our information that's included in the software. Now, you have wiring diagrams, system data, vessel data, and troubleshooting. So if we wanted to look at the engine, we're going to go into the read fault codes, and this will pull up some codes for us right here. You can see these red X's, these are marking active faults. If they were gray, it would be non-active, and yellow, they would be other fault states, or usually that they're old and they're not, causing the engine any problems. So, and then you can see here the very high priority and high priority here. So it'll list it here, the code information will give you the code number, and then it'll tell you what that code is about. And you can click on these icons here and it'll give you more information. So that'll give you the freeze frame, that I, and it also brings up that question mark here and then the fault code troubleshooting. So you could click on here and it would tell you the effect and important notes. Okay. So close out of that. Here's your tab for clearing fault codes, your system data. That's your ECU information, if you wanted to look at that. And we can get into the operation data and the monitoring and actuation components. So operation data, that could give you your data recording and your clear data recording. You can also go into the monitoring, which that's going to give you your parameters here where your live data can be seen. You can click into that and you can select all, and going through all these parameters, it's probably going to come up with a numerous page because this is a diesel engine. And you can click on this our eyeglass and it'll show you the parameters. It'll show you, well, you got 7 pages on this one and you go through each page. If you want to see a different view, you can click on this little gauge and it'll give you some gauges for them parameters and show you some information in a different view. You can also graph these out. If you were to select just 2 or 3, we'll go ahead and do that. You can come over here and you can graph those parameters out and it's going to give you a nice looking graph right here. Okay, so our monitoring, our actuation components, we can go in here and this is where we're going to run tests. You can see our tests here. What we would just do is click on that, read our information, what the warnings are. It's going to make sure our initial conditions are met. We're going to go ahead and hit check and it'll go through the test. You can click on and it'll run through that. Okay. Your system checks, this are usually the activations that need to be while the engine's running. So you'll see here the cylinder cut out and those tests there. Okay, and then your parameters, this is where you're going to change. You can display your parameters, or if you were going to do injector coding, this one's not listed on here, but if you wanted to, to change the idle speed or whatnot, you could do that here. And your injector coding would be there also. They also offer a data recorder where you can record up to 30 minutes of what you're doing. If you want to look at parameters for 30 minutes, you can see that there. One thing that might be very, very nice to have for the surveyors is this little button here. This is a report button and you can click on that. And basically JAWTest is going to make a report of everything that you went through. So, and it's going to print it up on a nice JAWTest form and you can put your information here. And what you can do is type in your information that you want to see. And this is going to tell you exactly what you saw while you were connected to the engine. So it's going to give you the faults. It's going to give you the system data, everything that we connected into. It's going to pull that information up right here, all on one sheet. And you can save that as a PDF and you can give that to the customer or keep it on your files or whatever you'd like to do. But that's a great thing to have. I know a lot of guys love that feature to have that already pulled up. So you can see here, it'll tell us where we actuated the fuel pump. And then it'll even put the graphs on there also. So it's a cool little feature to have with this system. Not every manufacturer is going to be the same as far as what's included on all these tabs. They vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. we may have a lot on one Cummins engine, and then on a John Deere, it may be a little less. It just depends on how much they've developed on these engines. But they will move along, and it will get more developed as we move along, throughout the years. Okay. I guess that covers the main points for the Jaltest software. One thing they also offer is an expert mode. You could, if you had a couple guys that are using the same equipment and you don't want one of them to be able to do certain parameters, then you can have it to where they don't have the expert mode, so they can't go in and change the injectors or anything like that. And you could have one mechanic to only have that expert mode. You only want them to do that work. So that's a safety feature for the customer using that tool. Okay, so we'll go into the Texa software. And like I said, again, this environment, here's all the environments that are offered through the Texa. We're just going to be focusing on the marine side. So we'll go into marine. And it's set up a little bit differently than Jaltest, but somewhat similar. So here we have all the engines you're going to pick, your inboards, they're all covered here. Your industrial engines, generators, your outboard engines, and your PWCs. Okay, so we'll go into outboard engine. We'll just go ahead and do a quick little demo of that information. So we're going to do a 115 Mercury EFI. You can see here we have the petrol injection or gas injection, whatever you want to call it. On here, it's somewhat similar to the Jaltest. We have the wiring diagrams, the technical data sheets, nominal values, guide diagnosis, and technical data maintenance information. So that's all on here, but you can also get to it through the software. So this little film strip here, this is where you're going to see your cable connection. So on this particular model, it has that same cable here. You'll use these two cables to connect. And then they'll give you a little video or film strip so you can see where they connected to on this engine. One thing to note is both these systems are Bluetooth, so you don't have to have cables drawn off everywhere when you're connecting to an engine. You can have the interface box and the cable connected to the engine down in the engine room, and you can be on top of the fly bridge or whatever and, diagnosing the engine from there. So that's a pretty important point that we like to offer or say. So we'll go ahead and start, and we'll go into the demo diagnosis. And again, this demo is not going to be, the perfect numbers or whatever. It's just going to give you an overview of what the software can offer. So some of these parameters may look funny or say something weird like demo mode or something. Okay, that should have went through. That was weird. Okay, so that demo is not working correctly. That was weird because we just checked it earlier. So we'll try a different engine, same basic concept. Okay, so all the software, you're obviously going to have the engine or the ignition turned on before you can read anything because it has to have power to it. Okay, so the first page that's going to pop up with the Texa software is going to be the faults page. Obviously, we have no faults here, but if we did, that's where they would come up. They would be listed. It would be the same as the Jaltest. It would give you a yellow or red to tell you what the severity of the code is. And then it would give you a number, and then you would click on that. It would pull that information up. The parameters right here on this tab, you can go through the parameters here. A little bit different way to graph these out. You would click on that and we'll graph those out. You could also do multiple at one time. If you only wanted to see, certain parameters, you can come down here to this funnel tab and you can click those parameters there. Hit that check mark, it's only going to pull those up. So then you can graph those out and you don't have anything else. You can look straight at that. You can also come here to your favorite parameters and you can mark those as your favorite parameters so you always see those. Okay, so here's a look at the parameters here. Your status page, that'll have your switches or any emergency stop or any switches like that. Your ECU information, that's obviously your ECU information there. And then your activations, that's going to be where you find your tests. All your tests will be listed on here. Sometimes they will have another tab on the top that says settings, and that could be where you need to adjust where your engine location is or do any of the settings for the fuel or anything like that. The repair information and stuff we talked about, you can come right here and you can see that right here. That's going to be just your acronym dictionary, your vehicle sheets, they'll list these here. And then your wiring diagrams. Sometimes they'll have different models listed there. Here's Texas wiring diagrams. They're very nice. They're interactive. You can click on that. It'll show you that circuit. You can also come up here and it'll tell you, give you every component in that circuit. It'll tell you whether there's a card for that to show you information on that, or if there's a picture or image you want to see of that component. Okay, so we can close out. That pretty much concludes the overview of the software we sell. One thing with the Texa is you can also do reports with Texa. Basically, when you get into the software, you would print each page you want to see, and then you can save that as a PDF to a file. But you can also do that with the Texa too. Both these tools are very similar. One may have better coverage on one engine. The other may have better coverage on another engine. It just depends on how well they can develop their software at the same time. They are in competition with each other, so there's always that going on. But they're very good softwares. One of my job is to test the competition with ours and to see what the differences are. And these two tools are very good. They are, in my opinion, top of the line for surveyors, mechanics, mobile mechanics, harbors, anybody that would need a non-OEM software that doesn't want to pay those high prices. These two tools are great for that. That pretty much includes, that's everything we have. Please reach out to us if you have any more questions or anything you want to know about the tools or us or anything like that.
Tim, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Tim? We've got a couple of minutes here before we move on. Anybody want to fire anything towards in Tim's direction?
I have a question.
Sure.
Hello, Tim?
I'm sorry, it's hard to hear.
Is the equipment reasonably water resistant?
Well, somewhat. We have actually tested the laptops that we sell. We sell CF31s. That's the one we come with a kit, but you can obviously upgrade. We offer tablets and other things like that. The CF31, actually, we submerged it and it still worked after that. Now, we didn't hold it underwater for a huge time, but we did submerge it and it worked after that. Texa offers an Axoni tablet. I don't know the exact price, but that Axoni is supposed to be pretty much bulletproof, waterproof, anything you can think of. That Axoni is what it's supposed to be.
Thank you.
Sure.
Tim, I have a question popped up from Mike. He says the cost for complete, more or less, roughly.
So we just moved the prices a little bit. I believe they're around 59 for a complete kit. Well, that's just for a complete. Now, obviously, if you just want to do inboards, the price comes down a lot more. So it just depends on what you want to do with the kit.